Hello and welcome to the walk-off, everybody. I'm Scott Belford, joined as always by the best co-host in the biz, Adam Mack. This
And known
is
magic lover.
and Noah Magic Lover. He is well aware of what is and what is not magic, one of his skills. That's
I
right.
know magic.
So, mailbag. It's a Monday morning mailbag on a Tuesday afternoon, and we've actually kept a schedule here. We comb through all of your interactions every single week and answer as many questions as we can. If you are a Patreon member, you get the Patreon bump. You automatically get your questions and comments answered. To join Patreon, you go to the Walk Off Podcast / Patreon. $4 a month gets you instant access to all of our interviews. You get extra bonus content, MLB Mondays, and mailbag access. So if you have been struggling to get in and you constantly are writing nasty emails about how we don't acknowledge your existence, the way around this, the workaround, is the $4 a month. And of course, if you are already a Patreon member, thank you so much. We could not run the
Show.
the show, the channel without you. There we go. Couple
Of course,
housekeeping.
I
Go
was just gonna
ahead.
say if you can't afford the $4 a month, the other way in is just put at the start of your message, trying again, hoping to get in. That Scott's a sucker for that one.
I am a sucker for that one, especially if you say something nice off the top. Hey guys, love the show.
Indeed. Hey
I
Scott, saw you at a show in Toronto. You're much taller in person than I would have guessed.
Listen, some people don't like their bread being buttered. Huge buttering of my bread fan here. Butter my
Both
bread.
sides of the
You get
toast.
both sides of that toast and you get in the mailbag. That is how we roll
Uh,
here. Some quick housekeeping. By the way, Baseball Town, which I am very, very excited about. If you are a fan of long toss, that's basically what this is. It is just a live version of that. Our panel for the first show of the year. This goes Thursday, April 17th. It's an off day before the Jays face off against the Mariners here at Rogers Center. So we have Blake Murphy and Julia Cruz from Sportsnet. They, of course, do Jays Talk Plus together. We've had both of them on the show. Blake has done a Baseball Town before, and so has Julia. They're great guests. You're going to love them as a combo. We also have Mitch Bannon, formerly of Sports Illustrated, currently writing with Blue Jays Nation. He's done some contract work with MLB.com, and who knows where he winds up. He's got some irons in the fire, so he is going to be more prevalent on the Blue Jays scene soon, I am sure. And as if that's not enough, we've got the boys from Blue Jays today, Nick and Adam, coming down. We are doing a roast battle. The Seattle Mariners, represented by, of the walk-off Mariners, Jordy Bott, going head-to-head with Toronto comic Thomas Jones, representing the Blue Jays, roasting the Mariners. And we always take a bunch of audience questions at the end. This is such a great time, man. Like,
mm.
I have really fallen in love with these shows, and it's not even about the show, it's about the hangout afterwards, where you've got all these Toronto Blue Jays fans mixing with the media and stuff and the guests on the show. And too many beers do get drank in a lot of these cases, but it is a really good time. Tickets are only $20 right now. I will post the link. Early bird tickets are I'm going to leave them up for another 3 to 4 days here. April 5th, I'm kind of planning on last 2 weeks going regular price. So get on it, get your friends together, come out for that. Also, not to do the double whammy here and over stimulate, but we're also going to be doing a trivia night, a Toronto Blue Jays trivia night. That's going to be at Left Field Brewing, Monday, April 28th. All sorts of prizes to be had. The grand prize is going to be a VIP night out at Left Field. That's going to include their giant appetizer plate, pitcher of beers, free access to the Toronto Blue Jays trivia night the next month. It is going to be a blast. It's $10 a ticket. Get your teams together. I'm going to put both links up into the comment section here. Guys, let's build this Toronto Blue Jays fan community.
Love it.
It might be all we have in the next little while. So together we are stronger.
We
Baseball
don't have
Town.
Vlad, but we have each other.
That's right. Blue Jays trivia on that. Let's get into the mailbag. Patreon, we're going to start with Let's Get Gaming. This is from opening day. And he goes, I'll ask a question later, but I just got to say, Andre Jimenez hitting cleanup is the weirdest thing I've seen in a long time. About to be there, excited for the game, and to see it myself. Hope it works out. So, first of all, let's get gaming. Condolences. Tough opening day, obviously, to go check out. But Andre Jimenez has been working out beautifully. This goes into our next comment perfectly because Mark Draybird of Patreon messaged last night and he goes, "It wasn't a perfect off season, but I'm happy that they went out there and grabbed a slugger to hit bombs in the cleanup spot." In parenthesis, Andre Jimenez, who hit his third home run of the season last night. The guy has been in his first 5 games absolutely incredible.
The damage is there. It's nice.
Last night, to watch him go deep, watch him take a walk, get hit, steal a
Steal a
base.
base.
Like, honestly, this dude has been incredible so far. I know that everyone,
Honestly, too, I think he stole 2 bases.
yeah,
They called him out and they didn't overturn it,
yeah,
but I
but
think,
he did look safe there. I
I mean, if
agree.
they had called him safe on the field, I also don't think they would have overturned. Like,
Hmm.
I think it was just inconclusive, but like, bang, bang play.
Yeah.
Nice throw by the catcher. But, anyways, yes, he's going for it. He's aggressive on the base paths, elite defender. It's spectacular to see.
Sticking with Andre Jimenez here, Trevor wrote in Jimenez on pace for 97 home runs. The trade is a steal! Exclamation mark. Hot takes all over the place. 5 games in. Morosi is the king of them. But the team looks pretty good. 3% through the season. Francis was solid. Nice to see Soroka. Soroka starting the game last night for the Nationals and a Calgary boy. So I agree with Trevor. Really cool to see Mike Soroka kind of getting his feet wet as a starter. He really struggled with Atlanta staying healthy, wound up going to the White Sox, struggled in that starting position, was moved to the bullpen, looked incredible, and wound up getting a contract with the Nationals where they were prepared to start him in that starting rotation. Yeah, the Blue Jays got to him, and it was a bummer to see him leave the game with discomfort in his arm. I mean, the kid just has struggled to stay on the field. It's been his biggest problem. So, all the best to
Mhm.
Mike Soroka. Sorry to stop this comment midway through, but
Nice.
uh, Trevor carries on. He goes, I predict a Barrios bounce back this evening. Love that. So do I. I think Barrios is going to be fine. I mean, he can't be as bad as he was on opening day, right?
Hmm.
Right? Famous last words.
Yep.
I remember one post from Jay's Twitter ClickHounds that Max Scherzer would be the 2024 Chris Sale of this season. I was like, I just want him to get through spring, not hurt. I don't know if we can give that a check mark there as Max Scherzer. Yeah, we're going to wind up talking that. It's so
Yeah.
early, but at least now they seem like they have more weapons to win than 2024. So Trevor all over the place in that message.
Hmm.
But a few of the big, strong takeaways. Jimenez has looked really good. It is a
Hmm.
small sample size, 5 games. Let's not lose our mind here. JP Morosi does suck. Um, Mike Soroka, it is nice to see him doing well. Max Scherzer, obviously not the 2024 Chris Sale as of yet. And finally, they do have more weapons than 2024, and nothing's perfect though. So let's really the one I want to really reel in here, Adam, is Max Scherzer. I know we touched a little bit on this in MLB Mondays.
Yeah.
Where are you at on Max Scherzer and his health? I know some people feel a little bit duped, like maybe not everything was disclosed, although the Blue Jays organization has really been in front of this, saying that they knew about his thumb, they knew about his problems, they were prepared to take the risk. Do you think Max Scherzer can get his thumb under control and get back on the mound here? Obviously, he was put on the IL, and the Blue Jays are kind of doing the old song and dance. Do we have the depth? Who are we going to pitch? Is it Easton Lucas? They don't have a lot of depth right now. So we're going to watch them really try to kind of limp their way through until Max Scherzer is right. So, Adam and the grounds crew members, does he get right? Are we going to see Max Scherzer be fine and him be able to gut his way through this? And more importantly, do you think that this lingering thumb could be a Joey Votto type scenario here where we struggle to see Max Scherzer?
Yeah, for sure. Indeed, I'm worried about that. Uh, yeah, listening to him
For everyone
say,
who's just jumping on the keyboard right now to be like Joey Votto never played with the Blue Jays, yeah, I'm well aware. That's not the comparison I'm making.
um, I was watching the David Sampson podcast after the Scherzer start, and he was saying the Blue Jays should just cut him. He's not worth the headache, honestly, of
Wow.
cut your losses, the bad teammate in the clubhouse of it all, the headache that it's going to be, versus basically the juice is not worth the squeeze. It's all squeeze. There's no juice left in Max Scherzer. I'm not there
No,
yet.
me neither.
Part of it is because of the lack of depth. Like there is a little bit of a like, well, what else do we even have? Like if we can get 10 to 15 starts out of Max Scherzer, even if they're 3 or 4 innings, we kind of just need it.
Yeah.
Like we kind of got to limp through with the Scherzer. Like we don't have anything else. Manoa might be back
Yeah.
mid-season. Is
Jake
that
Bloss, Jake Bloss is an interesting option, but honestly, Adam, I
he
mean, we
needs
watched him in
work
spring
too?
training, and I mean, the final few starts of his spring were far stronger than the beginning, and obviously, you gotta take spring training into account in general. But he did
Yeah.
struggle last season as a member of the Blue Jays in AAA. Uh, 23 years old, and I think Jake Bloss really could be the real deal. I mean, he
Mm-hmm.
broke into the Baseball America, just had their top 100. Jake Bloss is right there. There are a lot of people who are high on him within the organization. Do you want to rush this 23-year-old? Not really, especially as the only real depth piece where you can see him slotting in. Other than that, it's guys like, can we stretch Yariel Rodriguez out? They're obviously going to do that. You're going to see him pitching 3 to 4 innings, probably, maybe even as soon as Wednesday. There's still a big TBA there for tomorrow and exactly what they're going to be doing. Are we going to watch Easton Lucas take starts? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
All this to say, I'm
I
with you. We kind of need Max Scherzer for some starts here.
You mentioned on MLB Mondays, talking to a young lady at the Blue Jays Today live show you went to,
Hmm.
who was excited to go to the Max Scherzer start. I was like, I don't know how many chances we're gonna have to see him, so I'm
Yes.
excited to get that one in there. I would just echo that sentiment to the entire fan base. If you have a chance to see a Max Scherzer start, and that's something that you're interested in and you care about,
Do it.
don't put it off.
Yeah.
Like if he's spends any time on the IL here for a couple weeks or misses a start or whatever, and he's scheduled to start ever again for the
Hmm.
Jays, get on it and go get tickets. Like cancel your plans with whoever and go see it because this is very thin ice, and I would be seriously worried about him making many starts this year for the Jays.
That is really interesting to hear David Sampson feels the juice isn't worth the squeeze and that there's no
Mm-hmm.
juice left because you know what? He still, even in those 3 innings he pitched, looked good. He still
Mm-hmm.
got things done, right? He went through
Mm-hmm.
that that Orioles lineup. The problem with him is that he can't stay on the mound. So I do wonder how long this thumb thing is going to carry on. Like, can is it done? Like, is the thumb just there's nothing that he's it's just something he's going to need to deal with the rest of his life, and probably the sooner he stops using it in the way that he's using it, the better. I really hope that there is some rehab that can be done where he can tough it out for, I don't know, again, man, Adam, we
Man,
really need
here
100 innings out of him if they can somehow pull it off. I mean, even when Manoah's coming back, he's coming back off of
I know he's
Tommy
not going to be
John,
giving us
right? So it's like,
sevens anytime soon. Yeah, we're talking about a guy who the ceiling is there for, but has m most recently also not been a dominant pitcher in Alek Manoah,
mhm.
coming off of, what is a coin toss away from being a career-ending injury, right? Like we do take for granted that it's just, oh, Tommy John, and you come back and you miss a year and a half, 2 years, and then you're fine.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I would say hanging our hat on Alek Manoah being the savior at the back end of the rotation midsummer is a fool's game. But yeah, I don't know, man. Scherzer, we'll see. We'll
I
see.
will
Enjoy it
say
while you
this
can.
though, to draw some positive comparisons here. Imagine if Alek Manoah can pull off what Marcus Stroman did in 2020 or in 2015, where he comes back off of injury, comes in August, and just like literally is the difference maker that that team needed. I'm not saying we should hang our hats on that, and I'm with you.
Yeah,
It's fool's gold to do that. However,
yep.
boy oh boy.
Be
Would go a
nice.
long way. Yes, it would. To put a little bit of positivity back into this mailbag, we'll go to Lauren Stewart. These are all of our Patreon questions, by the way. Lauren asks a question to you, the grounds crew. Adam and I will answer, but for everyone out there, drop your comments here and maybe we'll circle back on this on Friday and see where we're at. So, Lauren asks, who on this team is the underdog fan favorite this year? A la Kawasaki or Johnny McDonald. So,
Mm.
I think the question is kind of framed here. Who is everyone's favorite blue collar guy or unexpected hero? Who is everyone's favorite 25th man on the roster? I think,
So we're okay. So we're talking guys like Will Wagner, Nathan Lukes, Alan Roden,
yes.
Ernie Clement,
Yes.
Schneider, Straw, Tyler Heineman,
Yes.
kind of in there, right?
Is it Tyler Heineman, everyone? Is it the Magic Man?
It
Speaking of Magic,
has to be. Um,
I think I'm going to go with Alan Roden.
okay.
And it's partly because of all the hype he had throughout spring training. I mean, Ross Atkins did come out and kind of circle him out as a guy to watch and a prospect that the front office is excited about. And the fan base kind of got a sniff of that and really
Hmm.
enjoyed watching him in spring training. And he made the team out of camp, which is not something people expected. And he has been contributing at the back end of this lineup. I think Alan Roden is a very likable guy. He's a very intelligent dude when it comes to the way he views the game mentally, and on top of that, all he's producing. These are all things fans love. So I'm gonna go with Alan Roden.
Indeed. I'm going with someone who, I mean, friend of the show, who we've been quite critical of the last year. But man, would I ever love for Davis Schneider to
Yeah.
have a competent major league season this year.
Oh, buddy,
Like
me too. I'm with you.
the mustache, the hairdo, the torpedo bat. Like, I don't know. I'm really pulling for Davis Schneider. I don't know if that'll be long lived or not, but he's one guy that I do still like kind of get excited for when he
I'm
comes
with
up to
you.
bat
I'm
and
with
I'm
you.
excited to
There's
see
it's
him.
hard
So
not to like a kid who is is where he is because of sheer effort and determination.
Yep.
Moving on, a few more Patreon here before we get to some of the public questions. So this one's from Philip. This is coming off of our Friday show where we really got into the weeds on Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Before I read this, I will say that I do think that there is a large portion of the fan base who has become frustrated with Vladimir Guerrero Jr. This was bound to happen in these negotiations with how frustrated everyone already is at Shapiro and Atkins. It's like when you're angry at one side for so long, like you
Hmm.
almost become full. It's almost like a glass, right? Here's our mug of hate for Ross Atkins. And once it's kind of already up to the brim, like how do you put more in it, right? How do you
Yep.
dislike a front office or a gentleman more? So I think with them not being able to get this deal done and so much being put on the value that Vladimir Guerrero Jr. feels he's worth, there's some spillage, some frustration that is falling on Vladimir Guerrero Jr.'s shoulders. So I think this sums up that portion of the fan base very well. It's why I picked
Right.
this question and comment, and it's why also if you're a Patreon member, I had to put it in here. So this is from Philip. He goes, "Wouldn't that be some shit if Guerrero really struggles this year?" Question mark. I know it's an extremely small sample size, but so far this season, I don't even see a 20 million a season player. Is it true that he actually turned down $570 million deal before opening day? That was the rumors, by the way. There's no uh, hard verification on that, by the way. If that's true, that's absurd. Like, dude, get off your high horse and accept the fact that deal would have made you the third highest paid player in the game. Very true. And
Hmm.
just shut up and play. Stop being a greedy bastard. Little rumblings about Guerrero's greediness and the Toronto media, but I'm surprised that he's not being blasted for being so selfish and greedy. I don't mean to disagree with you guys, but losing Zach Pop is not par for the course. I have a hard time giving up on a guy that throws 97 miles an hour heavy ball sinker. They made some real bonehead decisions with the bullpen, like Ryan Yarborough, in my opinion, and also Zach Pop. So, to touch on the Vladdy stuff, yeah, you know
Well,
what? The more that this comes out, the more fans are going to start attaching Vladdy with that greedy term. I don't know if that's actually true. I don't. I think as a free agent or coming up on pending free agent, you kind of got to play the game, and the game does involve leverage, does involve posturing, does involve all of the things we're seeing out of Vladdy. That all said, really hard to disagree with Philip on, yeah, $570 million is a lot. It would be the third highest paid contract. So if he did, I don't think he turned down 570. The rumors are that he turned down 12 years, 450, which if you break it down for 15 for the same AAV does work out to 570. So the Blue Jays are trying to chop those final 3 years off and pay him till he's 37 instead of 40. Either way, it is a shit ton of money. Would love to hear from you, the grounds crew. Are you feeling a little bit of animosity towards Vladimir Guerrero Jr. these days? Does it feel like maybe all of that talk about him wanting to be in Toronto so bad was more just lip service? How's everyone's feelings on Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and this contract extension?
I I'm already working on my t-shirt design that says "Fuck Vlad, pay Bo." Um, I need to figure out a way of saying that without having an F word on my t-shirt.
Yes.
Vlad who? Pay below Bo? I don't know.
Yeah, there you
Anyways,
go.
um, look, I'll never begrudge players for getting
Their
paid,
money. Yeah.
right? Like in the battle of who's greedy, Rogers or
Yes.
Vladdy, it's
Yes.
never, if that's my choices, it's never going to be the player. That being said, man, does that ever handcuff the team?
Yeah.
Like that does really put us in a spot where I don't know. Like, just think it back. I know this, we're mixing our sports here, but like, Tom Brady with the Patriots never took the absolute max money, and it enabled him to, you know,
Win a bunch of Super
put
Bowls.
win
Yeah.
a bunch of Super Bowls because he was, they were able to add another lineman or tight end or running back or whatever, like another weapon to whatever, right? And it's just like that's where it's like, okay, if Rogers only has so much money to spend, right? Like this is where,
Which is fair to assume.
which is fair to assume, right? So whatever the dollar figure may be, man, I don't know. It's just so fucking frustrating.
Hmm.
And I'm starting to come around on Atkins and Shapiro, man. Is like, hold the line. I'm gonna be like I'm gonna be pissed off if we give him $600 million or more. Like, if that's what it comes to this offseason, where he's getting that kind of a payday, and we're like, okay, fine, we'll match it and add a year. I do not want to do that, man. And like I know we were just excited about Juan Soto and Shohei and whatever, but it's like, and people are gonna hate on me for hating on Vlad, and he looks in great shape and all this stuff. And I know we had a comment a few mailbags ago about how, well, 40 million a year for Vladdy, you know, in 5 years, 40 million is going to seem like a decent deal.
And
Except that,
it
okay,
might,
here,
but
yes, but here's where that breaks down is
yeah.
that 40 million right now, by saying 40 million a year in 5 years relative to the rest of the league is going to feel like a good deal. Okay, he'll be 31 then, right? So by saying, well, in 5 years it'll be a good deal, by built into that statement is we're acknowledging it's an overpay now,
Hmm.
right? So we're saying, well, we got to, and of course, the prime years you got to overpay for, but we're going to overpay at 40 million a year now, and then in 5 years it'll be a deal where he won't be as good anymore. Like he's only going to be worse at 32 than he is at 27. And then by the tail end of the contract, we're like, man, 12 years from now, 40 million will be nothing. It's like, yeah, and so will Vlad's fucking output,
Yeah.
right? So it's like at 0 years along the contract, do you ever go, man, are we getting a good deal on this? Right? Like we just played the Orioles, and I'm watching like Tyler O'Neill, Canadian boy, West Coast, six season openers with a home run in a
Yeah.
row,
Isn't that
which is
crazy?
like just like a cool weird record to have.
Yeah.
Like the odds of that are so like just funny how that works out. Anyways, you look at a guy like him and he's getting like a little less than 15 million a year.
Yeah.
And then so I just start thinking of like, man, 40 million a year though, if we just let Vlad walk and just instead reinvested 40 million on whoever the Anthony Santander of the offseason
Yeah.
is, and the Tyler O'Neill of the offseason is, and the Pete Alonso of the, like we could just spend $40 million on two guys that are each going to hit 35, 40 home runs and
Hmm.
just be better off. And then there's no rip. Like you could just spend 40 million in two, like,
Every 4 to 5 years. Yeah.
yeah, on short-term things and not be like all your eggs in one basket. And then you go, okay, Vladdy's, we kind of all acknowledge a good season from Vladdy's going to be 35 to 50 home runs. Okay, well, Tyler O'Neill's going to hit 25 to 30. Pete Alonso's going to hit, another
35.
35 to 40. You just give them $45 million and you've increased your team output by 70 home runs compared to the 35 to 50 you're getting from Vlad. I don't know. That again, that's just where it
And
breaks
listen,
down for
Adam,
me of
listen,
like,
man, there is a real argument. Like you're not out in left field here, right? Like you're not
mhm.
being crazy at all. And I will say that there is some real value in locking up your home developed talent. There absolutely is. There's something to be said
Yes,
for showing
I agree.
loyalty there. I think that there is something to be said for having a guy for the entire length of his career, something the Toronto Blue Jays have
It's
never
cool.
had, right? It is
Yep.
very cool. There's all of these intangible things that locking up Vladdy long term would do. And you know what? We've said this before on the show. If Vladdy does wind up getting signed for a mega deal, Hell yeah. Adam and I are celebrating, baby. Like, obviously, live it up while you can. But there is some real risk to a deal like this. And for all the reasons you just stated, it may be a much smarter move to distribute that money to more holes and try and fill your needs in multiple ways than to invest all of it into one guy. Um, I do also think that this free agency is going to be really interesting. Maybe Vladdy is only worth $450 million, and that's all the market will hold. And I do wonder if it gets to that point, if the Blue Jays are the final offer, or if Vladdy's just already kind of pissy about,
Yeah,
and this is where
could
the
be.
relationship with fans and Vladdy could sour more. If Vladdy goes elsewhere and turns down a deal that was the same or more from Toronto, that's going to hurt. And that just shows you that this relationship between the front office and him has maybe soured more than everyone thought it did. I'm not saying that's what's happening, by the way. It's just another possibility as we look at all the question marks around this Vladdy extension and how Vladdy winds up going about the negotiations moving forward. If he does, right? He did say that he doesn't want to be a distraction, and really all we've seen this spring and to start the season is him be a bit of a distraction. Uh,
What did we give Santander for a contract?
That was, well, yeah, you're going to need to look it up because there is some inflation equation that you got to put it through to get the actual number. I think it's 14 million a year over 5 years is what it all works out to.
So it's 92.5 over 5 years. So AAV of 18 million. Now, just rough numbers.
With deferred money.
Okay, sure,
So,
whatever.
yeah.
Roughly speaking, would you rather have a team with Bo Bichette making 23 million and Anthony Santander making 18-ish million, or lose both of them, but you've got Vladdy for 40 million? Like that's where like the value of like 40 million a year, man,
Yeah. I
for
mean, my
Vladdy, like
my honest answer there is I would rather Bo and Santander, right? Like I
right.
and I love Vladdy. This is why this deal has taken so long and this is why it's not done yet, is that there is some real risk involved here that I think makes Mark Shapiro, Ross Atkins, and obviously Rogers ownership in general nervous. Now, that said, I will say this, Adam, okay? And I think this matters. The Blue Jays had an average opening week attendance, 4 games, of 28,774. Now, these are their first games of the year. So these are low attendance numbers for the opening series. Thursday's game, the home opener, sellout, 40,000, just under 41,000. Friday was 26 2, 27,000 on Saturday, 21 on Sunday. Last night's game, 18,000 people. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is beloved by the fans, but he's not filling the stadium. He's there right now. He's on this team right now. An organization
Yep.
full of rabid Vladdy lovers. So
Mm-hmm.
if Vladdy's not putting butts in seat right now, how much does Rogers push to sign him? They may be a little surprised at the attendance right now. And obviously, there's a lot that goes into that, the frustration of the fan base, them getting their asses kicked in game one obviously did
Mm-hmm.
not help attendance, right? Because everyone's excitement was like, oh, well,
Mm-hmm.
until this team proves that they're fun to watch, I'm going to just watch at home. And why
Yeah.
wouldn't you?
Mm-hmm.
But it did make me go, oh, maybe Vladdy is not tied to the attendance in the ways that sometimes his camp has been pushing.
Well, and this is the like shiny new toy theory, right? Of it all is that as much as there's an argument to be like, yeah, homegrown guy, lifer as a Blue Jay. We've never had that. The Steve Yzerman, 20 years as a Red Wings captain or whatever, right? Like it's so rare in sports to have a Hall of Famer just go start to finish in one jersey, and it's awesome. But there is, like you said, a little bit of from a fan base standpoint, uh, the novelty's gone, right? Like there is a not putting butts in seats aspect to it where the team goes, or the fan base goes, well, yeah, we know what we got here. Vladdy's going
Yeah.
to be good. Bo's going to be good.
Yeah.
Okay, we got Max Scherzer. We'll see what happens there. Andre Jimenez, who,
Yeah.
they're learning that now.
Hmm.
But whereas had we landed Shohei, I think you do just get that surge of new fan, not necessarily new fans, but like that increase of excitement from the fans that are like, oh wow, like now what's gonna happen, right? Or if we had gotten Juan Soto, right? Like, wow, we have this, good team and Juan Soto, like,
Yeah.
so there is that like major addition, which would put another few thousand people just to check out the Juan Soto of it all, right?
Yeah.
So there is definitely that of like retaining Vlad. If we had have signed him in February,
Hmm.
would that have increased attendance by one seat? I don't think so.
Hmm.
I don't think one extra person would have gone this weekend that didn't go because wow, we've got Vladdy locked up. Now I'm going to go to the home series, right? But if we
Hmm.
had assigned Juan Soto, uh, more likely to get off the couch and be like, I
Of
want to check out it,
course.
you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so I don't know, man. There is just that's a factor in these negotiations, and maybe that is what it comes down to with like letting him walk. Is like, even if he left and we replaced him with an equivalent star, we made some trades and got, I don't know, Ronald Acuna Jr., right?
Hmm.
And I feel like you'd see a bump in next home opener
Hmm.
because all the fence, not fence fans, but the fans that are kind of apathetic to the whole situation and go, okay, well,
The
let's see what this
casuals.
team's like.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
that
sure.
are because you're gonna have the diehards that go regardless, whether Vladdy's here, whether he's not, whether he's replaced, whether he's locked up.
Hmm.
And then, yeah, you're gonna have that extra chunk of fans that are like, man, Ronald Acuna Jr. Okay, let's see what's going on here.
Let's
So I
roll.
don't.
Yeah.
Let's roll. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Vladdy is not on the same level as Shohei. Hate to break it to you, Vlad.
Hmm.
You're not. You know.
I know that there's been a lot of lad talk over the last few months, but feel free to drop your comments here. Where are you at on Vladimir Guerrero Jr. as a fan? Are you starting to be on that? Maybe it's best if we just get as much out of Vladimir Guerrero Jr. as we can and either move on at the deadline if this team is out of it, or if they should invest the kind of money it's going to take in him and lock him up long term. Where are you at on Vladimir Guerrero Jr.?
Vladdy needs home runs to be worth 500-600 million, right? Like
I
if
don't,
he hits if he hits
like,
25 home runs, but he's got a what was his batting average
yeah,
last year?
25 is not enough. He needs to break 30.
Right? Like if he hits 323 was his batting average last year. And I mean, kudos to him, great batting average. But like
Mhm.
a really high on base percentage doesn't get you
Paid. Just ask
three
Luis
quarters of a
Arise.
billion dollars.
Yeah.
Right. This is what I'm saying, right? It's the home run potential that does.
Mhm.
So yeah, I don't know. His career average, like 162 game average, is only 31.
And that's including that massive 48 home
48
run.
campaign,
Yeah.
right? So again, Tyler O'Neill, by the way, Canadian kid, smaller sample size, whatever. Uh, his 162 game average, 30 home runs.
Yeah.
He's getting 15. 15 million.
Yeah.
So it's just tough to justify another 25 million on top of that for one extra home run and 50 extra points on the batting average. I don't know. That's just me.
Moving on from Vladdy here, just want to touch on Zach Pop really quickly here. I don't know. I said par for the course because it's something that he brought up here. I didn't mean Zach Pop being DFA'd was like, oh, of course he's being DFA'd. He has
You aren't
sucked.
saying that he's par, like
Yeah.
he's a replacement level player. You mean that's like how the Jays operate. It's like,
Yes.
oh, Hagen Danner throws 100, fucking let him go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? It's
So
just,
again,
it's the MO for this front office.
Zach Pop may clear waivers, which he has been dealing with some injury stuff, which is
Yeah.
why maybe they're trying to sneak him through waivers now so that they can kind of restart his options there and get him
Hmm.
back within the fold in Buffalo. Yeah, Zach Pop has some really good stuff and has been an enigma. It's like,
Hmm.
can we figure this Rubik's Cube out as the pitching staff for the organization and the Blue Jays here? They've been trying. They haven't really pulled it off. So I agree with Philip that Zach Pop, when you need
Hmm.
bullpen guys as badly as this team seems to on the regular, especially over the last couple of years. It's odd to see them give up on him, but
Hmm.
also they needed to make room on this 40 man. So he was the odd man out. Moving along here, we've got a couple more Patreon before we get into the public side of things here. Mish chimes in. She goes, the George I've seen the last few games is not someone who is looking to retire anytime soon. He's enjoying himself, swinging hard, and having fun again. Agreed. George Springer has actually looked substantially better than he did in spring. Adam and I have said many times that all of the George slander will be greatly forgiven if he can manage to put it together, and we're hoping to be wrong. I would love to eat my words. I say this every
Hmm.
time I shit talk George. I would love to, in June, have our George Springer apology month where we just every podcast we start with a big I am so sorry, George. I can't believe that we thought you were done. I can't believe we thought you were washed. So keep playing like you are, Georgie. We're hoping that we're full of shit when it comes to where you're
Yeah,
at in your
indeed.
career.
Yeah, indeed. Good
Uh,
start.
Going to Johnny Eaton here. This is the final Patreon comment here. He goes, I was watching the Ichiro first pitch tonight and was thinking, man, Seattle has had so little as a franchise, but player wise, amazing. Griffey Jr., Suzuki, the Jays haven't had crazy legends like that. We've had our fair share of great players, but man, those guys single handedly defined a generation. That was the promise of Vladdy. That is what I still hope for, even if the team doesn't win, to get to witness greatness over a career. And yeah, agreed. There is something very special about watching an iconic Hall of Fame player on your team. It's special.
Ken Griffey Jr., the kid, um, is still the reason I, as a 36-year-old full-grown adult, when I play slow pitch, wear my hat backwards when I
Yes.
bat, is because I love Ken Griffey Jr. as a kid. Okay. I, by the way, was fortunate enough. I mean, we talked about seeing Max Scherzer play in a Jays uniform. I was fortunate in 2009 or 2010 when he came back to Seattle. I was able to go to a Mariners game and
Amazing.
see him play in a
Yeah.
Mariners uniform. So that was really exciting for me. Love Ken Griffey Jr. and his, as good as he was, final 10 seasons in the big league. So age 31 to age 40. Guess what his total WAR was?
10?
7.6.
Wow. Which
Less
goes
than
to
a
sh
WAR per year
which goes to
after
show
the
you
age of
the
30.
insane amount of war he compiled over the first 10 years of his career, which I can't wait to hear.
Um, yeah, which was 76.2.
Wow.
So
Almost like
yeah,
9 to 10 WAR a season, and that's where I
but this
like.
is the thing, man.
I
It's like
know,
I mean,
I know, man.
we make the Vladdy to like Prince Fielder comparisons, and everyone's like, that's not fair, like whatever. But like this is the point, is that like, man, there's a cliff.
Yeah, and
There's an age limit,
there's only
man.
been one David Ortiz. There's only
It's
been
hard to
one
be
Big Poppy.
elite into your 30s. And like Ken Griffey Jr., 1.9 WAR as a 31-year-old, negative zero point 0.7 as a 32-year-old, 1.3, 0.7. Had the best season of his sunset years as a 35-year-old with a 3.7 WAR.
Hmm.
But like, yeah, it's and then he
Yeah.
never cracked a WAR above one for the next 5 years. So like, yeah, it's just
No, you don't need to say anymore, man. I get it, and I think
Ken
everyone
Griffey
gets it.
Jr.
It's Ken Griffey Jr. Yeah. Twitter. Go on to Twitter here. Greg Kennedy DM'd us and he goes, "Holy shit, guys." All exclamation or all capitals, I should say. Just read the Orioles are prepared to move Ryan Mountcastle or at least take offers. There's our 5-hole hitter. What do you guys think? I mean, I'd be fine with Ryan Mountcastle being a Blue Jay just so we don't need to get pounded by him every time we play the Orioles. That man, I don't get it, dude. Like there is something about playing the Toronto Blue Jays. He is uber focused and puts up numbers like he's a Hall of Fame bound guy. And would I like to see him with the Blue Jays? Maybe. I don't know where you would put him. I mean, he is primarily a first baseman. Yeah, ground screw, where are you at on something like that? It would be intriguing maybe next year if Vladdy's moving on, right? Trying to make up Vladdy's wins above replacement with numerous players, and Ryan Mountcastle could fit into that puzzle.
His numbers in Toronto, 33 career games, 8 home runs, 287 batting average, 903 OPS in
Yeah,
Toronto. Not bad.
unreal.
Not bad. He is 1 year left of ARB after this. He's making 6.7 this year, then arbitration year. So
Yeah. Interesting that the Orioles are shopping him though.
but
The
can he pitch? Because we need a
Yeah,
pitcher
do
more
we
than we need
ever?
a number five.
Yeah, do we ever?
Number
Uh,
five pitcher more than a number five hitter.
Speaking of number 5 pitchers, Brenda DM'd us. She goes, "Well, guys, I think we might have something in Bowden Francis. I know with these smaller sample sizes, you guys always say temper your expectations, but this guy is exciting." And hard to argue with Brenda here. I mean, we really went into this year with an asterisk next to Bowden Francis. Can he be the guy we watched over? Yes.
This is my little meme I made the other
Stone
day.
Cold Steve Francis. And
It was a
he's
good face swap.
it was. He superimposed Bowden Francis's face over Stone Cold Steve Austin. It is gold. Typical
I
Adam
know.
Mack gold. Yeah, I mean, if you look at what Bowden Francis has done in 10 starts, 65 innings, a 1.66 ERA, a 0.55 whip, 60 strikeouts, 10 walks. He's
I'm starting
career
to come around.
10 and 5, career 10 and 5, a 288 ERA. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing to argue with. Francis has yet to watch the other shoe fall.
Mhm.
Even last night, he was down to throw, and I think the last few pitches, his last few fastballs were 88 miles an hour. Even with him juiced, or sorry, juiced is the even with him
Drained.
drained,
Yeah.
the opposite of juiced. Even with him drained, he was still hitting his spots and he was getting it done. Love to see it, especially with a guy who isn't reliant on velo. This is a man who has learned how to pitch at 29 years old, and it could not come at a better time, especially with Max Scherzer going down. Bowden Francis is going to be relied on heavily here in the next month or so as they try and figure out the whole Max Scherzer Rubik's Cube of it all. So I'm excited, and I would love to hear everyone's thoughts on Bowden Francis. Has he done enough to get 100% on board? I want to see a few more, but I'm there.
Bowden Francis is still pre-arb for 2 more
Yeah,
seasons.
yeah.
He'll never get a payday, unfortunately.
Oh, those extension talks in 5 years? Come on. Okay, moving along. And I'm with you, Brenda. Very exciting stuff from Bowden.
Yeah.
Melanie goes, hello, Scott and Adam. Melanie is getting it done here. This is how you do it if you want to get on Mailbag and you've been struggling to do so. So Melanie goes, hello, Scott and Adam. Love the show and hoping to finally get in Mailbag. Did it. You did it,
You
Melanie.
did it. Yeah.
She goes, this bullpen is making me very nervous. Are you guys worried at all? This bullpen might not be good enough and we're in a 2021 situation again? Terrified? Is that yes?
I mean, I honestly,
Time will tell. But am I
yeah,
scared? Yeah, man.
yeah, it could be worse though. Like, I don't know. Let's look at our who we've got now.
Listen, this bullpen could be very good, but there are a lot of loose threads. And if you start pulling at them, it could really wind up where you're just sitting there sweaterless with a bunch of threads. And we watched it happen in 2021. We watched it happen in 2022. We watched it happen in 2024.
Okay, so here are our bullpen arms as of today, as per fangraphs.com. Jeff Hoffman, how do you feel about him as a closer?
100% on board.
Okay,
Now,
good. Me
am I
too.
am I am I a little concerned with the failed physicals of three other teams before getting signed from the by the Jays? Yeah, a little bit.
Hey, you know what? At least he's still opening water bottles with his right hand.
Too soon. Too soon.
Uh, Jimmy Garcia,
Fully on board. Love
fully
Jimmy.
on board. Okay.
Two
Uh,
big
Ch
back end of the bullpen guys. High leverage.
Chad Chad Green.
Now we're going to give the number system 10 being 100% confidence, 1 being not confident at all. I will go 6. I say 6
Okay.
because they are going to need some big innings out of Chad Green. And I am worried that maybe he is more of a fifth, sixth inning guy than he is
Okay.
a seventh, eighth.
Okay.
Time will tell. Fingers crossed, though.
Okay. Nick Sandlin.
I really have been liking Sandlin. I think he wound up being a really good pickup out of Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, they got him for Spencer Horwitz and Andre
Mm-hmm.
Jimenez as well. And he is the perfect Adam Simber. Weird
Yep.
look, sidearm guy. He's got that big, weird hook that comes in and is deceptive. Love Sandlin, but I really do believe again. So I'm going to go with an 8 with Sandlin here. He started very
Okay.
well. My concern with Sandlin is he a guy they're going to start relying on in the eighth inning? If so, back down to a 6, and we're in Chad Green territory again.
All right. Lefty, first lefty in the bullpen, Brendan Little.
Loving Little.
2 2/3 innings so far, 2 strikeouts, a whip of 0.75
So I will
through
say
three
this, Adam,
appearances. Looks
about
good.
Brendan Little. I was very concerned about him being the guy. Watched
Okay.
him in Buffalo last year. He looked really good with the Bisons, but I always have this thing with relievers who are killing it in AAA where I got to see it in the majors for a little bit first for a lot of reasons. And I was lukewarm on Brendan Little as our go-to lefty in the pen. He has looked really good in spring. He's looked
Mm-hmm.
really good in his first appearances out of the bullpen here in the regular season. So I'm going to go 7 out
Okay.
of 10. I still have some trepidation. I still have some concerns, and we're going to obviously see how he does in this first month of the season, and we can kind of revisit it. But yeah, I'm going to go 7 in comfort zone.
Well, we're pretty deep into the bullpen already, and you're giving out sevens and better. So
Mm,
just I
Yeah.
don't know, man. I think the bullpen is not as bad. I mean, Love Lady's gone.
Yes.
Love Lady was an implosion. Okay. And I feel like
I
we got
just think,
over.
Adam, this bullpen could hold together and be fine. It could be fine.
Okay. Well, let's keep going here. Yariel Rodriguez.
Yariel scares the shit out of me. I'm really high on
Really?
him. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
really high on him. I really do believe in this kid. I think that he is going to put it together. Does he put it together in time for this season? I don't know. And I will say this, they are, especially with Max Scherzer being so injury prone, they are going to be leaning on him so much. And I
That's my
don't
only
know. I
concern with
just don't know
Yariel.
if he's ready.
I think he's got the stuff. I think he's what we need. I do just worry about the way we use him
Mhm.
or are going to need to use him. If, I mean, like you said with Brendan Little, right? As the go-to lefty, that's a big ask,
Yeah.
right? If Yariel Rodriguez is a like 2 inning guy out of the bullpen all year long or whatever, I think he could be great for us and put up phenomenal numbers. But if we're going to yo-yo him between starts and bullpen, like I don't know how he's going to hold up to that.
I agree. And you know what? It takes a special kind of pitcher to be able to pull that off. The
Who
last guy we
who
watched do it was Ross Stripling, but
Stripling that, thank you.
he got signed to good money afterwards with the Giants, wound up moving to the Athletics. I mean, I don't even think Ross is in the league anymore. I need to look it up, but
Um,
he
yeah,
had
he
that
hasn't pitched
one
yet this year. Looks like he is
he had the one good year with the Jays where he was being that yo-yo guy and just seemed it didn't matter where they put him was incredible. It's a tough gig.
okay. Beyond that, I'm gonna give Rodriguez like an 8 for me.
Okay.
And I think it could be as high as a 9, and it could be as low as a
Four.
6 if we
Okay,
abuse
yeah.
him.
Yeah.
I think he'll still be like he's he's never gonna be Love Lady. Like
Yeah.
I'm
No, I'm with you.
immediately I got the winces when I saw Love Lady taking the mound, and I don't have that feeling from anybody else in the bullpen, to be honest. Jacob Barnes, how do you feel
Yeah.
about him?
5. I mean,
Yeah, I'm
he's
probably
he's
around a
he's
6, but
he's your typical I mean, early inning guy.
journeyman. Yeah.
Yeah, he's your number 8, your number 7 in the pen. I mean, he
Yeah,
is
he's a guy that
every team has that guy.
he's a guy that is going to go out and give you a couple innings in low leverage situations where you're down 5 or up 5. So it is what it is. He's an arm. Mason Fluharty, another lefty, 23.
I love Mason Fluharty. He was a guy I was really high on last year. I wrote a couple articles with him with Crier Media. I covered him and talked to him in person. He's a really smart kid. He's just that. He's 23 years old and he is a dude who is yet to pitch in Major League Baseball. So how do I feel about him? We'll wait and see.
Sure. And then lastly is Easton Lucas.
And again, this is just a AAA arm. This is a
Yeah,
guy. This is a dude who's
this is
going to
just a
log
guy.
innings.
So
Yeah.
so here's where our bullpen's at if I'm reading the tea leaves okay here. Hoffman, not a substantial step down from
Romano.
Romano, right? So at the closer position, the talent's there. You've got health concerns, right? The
Yeah.
3 failed physicals, can he hold up? That remains to be seen. Now, if he has bad tacos, it pushes everybody up. Right now, Jimmy's your closer, Chad Green's your setup
Yeah.
guy. Like everything does start to be quite terrifying in that situation. But we're not there yet, so let's not do hypotheticals like that. Um, Back into the bullpen with Garcia, Green, like into Sandlin, Little, the lefty. Rodriguez has the talent. We'll see how he's used. And then you got some like journeyman grinders. I don't know. And then some like AAA kids at the front end to like, they're a guy. Interchangeable. They're going to be yo-yoed up and down all the time with the rest of the AAA guys. But that's everyone's bullpen.
Yeah.
So I don't know. For me, I do feel like the bullpen, I don't know, does it give you the scares? Like, sure, but again, that's everyone's bullpen. Like, I don't think there's too many teams where you go, okay, yeah, we got elite bullpenning. Like it, if they were elite, they wouldn't be bullpen pitchers. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think our
Could be
bullpen
fine.
is as good as anybody else's needs to be. Like I don't know. It's just I think we had a little bit of recency bias in like the blown game with
Yeah.
Lady
Yeah.
and stuff like that, where it's just like and it feels like so.
I mean,
But I think we're gonna be fine.
this team the bullpen could be fine. I mean, that's how we started this talk. The bullpen could be fine. All right, moving to YouTube here. This is from MBAC 512. He goes, "Stop gaslighting us and saying it's only one game. We know how terrible this team is." To which was written after one game. I don't think MBAC 512 knows what gaslighting is, because saying that it's only one game after one game is actually incredibly accurate and incredibly the case. So it was only one game, one of 162. Listen, if you want to write off this baseball season and become miserable after game one, I'm not holding you back. Do whatever the fuck you want, man. Like, live your life, be miserable. Fine. But logistically, if anyone has watched baseball for as long as Adam or I have, you know darn well judging an entire season off one game is absolutely insane. So if you want to run
Mhm.
around and talk about how this team is terrible, I'm not holding you back. But gaslighting is not 1 plus 1 equals 2. That's not how it works. Gaslighting is us telling you something that isn't the case, right? And making you feel crazy for even believing that 1 plus 1 equals 2, which we're not.
Yes.
So
Yes.
there you go. MBAC.
We're halfway through the second period of the first NHL game of the year. We're down
Yeah,
3-0. You don't go, wow, let's trade away McDavid and the whole season's a write-off.
we're not even down
It's
3-0 though. The season is 3-2. They literally split the
true.
series against the
It's true.
Orioles. I know that this comment was after game one,
Yes.
after our Friday episode, but I will say, like, nobody's. But and this is our next comments from Becky Peterson, longtime listener, love
Nice. Hi,
Becky. But
Becky.
I love that the first one is like, you guys are crazy. You're being way too positive, and I love that the next one is we're too
Guys are way
negative.
too negative. Yeah,
But
of
Becky
course.
Peterson goes, "I'm listening to this after the first series is done." So obviously, we were more panicked after losing 12-2 than
Yep.
you would be after the full 4 games. She goes, "You all said 500 at the end of April would be okay. Still believe that, especially with how difficult this Blue Jays April is. It's one of the hardest months in all of baseball. So if they do go 500, I think that they are still somewhat in a decent spot." And then she goes, "At least Springer already has a home run." Truth. All of
Does
these
Springer
things.
have a home run?
It might. I didn't.
Zero home runs.
0 home runs. So he
But he's hit
doesn't.
a couple off the wall.
He did hit a couple off the wall. He's looked good. I mean,
He has.
he has not been a black hole in this batting order, and he is putting up some good at bats. So yeah, you know what, Becky, I'm with you. A lot of baseball still to be played. And as long as this team doesn't sink itself early, I think that we are in it for the long haul here when it comes to competing for a wild card.
Man, is April ever a rough schedule.
I know.
I'm looking at this right now. So we got Washington right
Yeah.
now. This is probably
The
the
easiest series of the
easiest.
month. Yeah.
So after Washington, we go to New York to face the Mets. You've heard of them. Then a road trip for Boston for 4, Baltimore for 3. Man, those are going to be tough games. Um, home for Atlanta for 3 and the Mariners for 3. Then we're off to Houston for 3, the Yankees for 3, and then we end the month with Boston for 3 at home. Whew. Man.
Yeah, it's a meat grinder, baby.
Welcome to the AL East, right?
Last questions of mailbag here. I know it was a bulky one. Appreciate all of your interactions throughout the week. You can always reach out to us on Twitter at Walk Off Podcast, Blue Sky, The Walk Off Podcast, Instagram, The Walk Off Podcast, and get in automatically if you are a Patreon member. This is from Seven Georgiati. Goes, just look at last season. If I remember correctly, didn't Vlad struggle the first half of the season and only really turned it around after the Jays were obviously out of the playoffs race? He only then tore it up to raise his average and overall stats? Exclamation mark, question mark. To which Mantis Toboggan answered, Vladdy struggled for the first month. May 1st and onward, he hit 345 with an on base of 314 and an OPS of 1002. So no, he was hitting very well when the Jays were still in contention. So, yeah, I mean, this stems a little bit from us being down on Vladdy in game one. I know that one of the comments was, oh, yeah, blame the guy with a 500 on base percentage for the loss. Listen, all our point was with Vladdy in game one is it was a big moment. We needed a big game out of our supposed backbone of the team. And he took some bad swings. He didn't look great. Kind of, I wouldn't say buckled under the pressure. Again, this is also getting shit from people saying we were like it's only game one. So there's a lot going on here. But it was only game one. Let's not blow it out of proportion with Vladdy and all of that sort of thing here. Vantage Toboggan made a great point. Vladdy was very, very good from May 1st on. 162 games in a season, you can still have incredible numbers if you play 30 of those badly.
In May alone, he hit 357 with a 917 OPS.
Mm-hmm.
Just still wasn't hitting home runs, 2 home runs in all of May.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, he really didn't start hitting home runs till almost July. So he really, even though I think he piled up 30 last year.
he had 8 home runs in June.
Oh, okay. June's when he started to hit. Okay.
And that's, again, I think that's where this attitude comes from of we're not giving him 600 million so that he can hit 357.
Yeah.
With 2 home runs. Like, we're not. So the home runs is what is going to get. That's the thing, man. Bo Bichette can hit 357 with 11 home runs, and we'll give him 25 million a year for that. That's fine. But he's also not asking for 600 million. So by June 1st, look, the Blue Jays were 27-30, dead last in the AL East, 12 and a half games back of the Yankees.
Yeah.
So
we can't be there.
Well, okay, like to say I don't know. I love Mantis Toboggan, MD. But I do think that, like, yeah, April was bad all around. May, look, yeah, I can't argue. The batting average was there. But 2 home runs in May, it doesn't float my boat at all. It's not gonna cut it. We need more from Vladdy than a really good batting average. So yeah, I still think a lot of last season was once the games really didn't matter. 12 and a half games back of the division, man. Like, you could say we were only 3 games under 500 or whatever, but it's like, okay, the Yankees were 22 games over 500 at that point. And we were, so it's like, okay, we were still sniffing around 500. Could we have made a push for a wild card? Yeah.
I'm with you, man. I really do. I would love to see Vladdy put up when pressure's on, and pressure's on right now. So
there's a happy medium here.
Yeah.
But I don't think entirely letting him off the hook for last season and saying, oh, he only started hitting once the games didn't matter. I think that's kind of still
a little
accurate.
True. Yeah.
A little true. So again, for a guy asking for 600 million, you've you can't have a gray area of like, ugh. It's like when Aaron Judge struggles in October and goes 0 for 11 in the wild card series, you're gonna get booed, man. Like, I don't care that he hits 65 home runs in those games. We need stuff now if you want
Yeah.
to be paid like the big dog or whatever. So yeah, Vladdy needs to be better, and I don't think
Yeah.
being overly critical of a guy who wants $500 million is unreasonable. That's
100%.
that's where I'm at.
No, I'm with you, buddy. Vladdy's got to put up or shut up. That's
Yeah.
really where it's at. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for all of your interaction. Honestly,
Yeah.
we always love reading through the questions. I mean, when you're telling us that we're a bunch of negative
Handsome and
assholes or
oh,
are too darn positive,
yeah.
it's is what it is. But we do love talking baseball with you. You can always reach out on Twitter, a Walk Off Podcast, on Instagram, the Walk Off Podcast, Blue Sky, the Walk Off Podcast. Remember, Baseball Town early bird tickets. They are available right now. $20 a ticket. Mitch Bannon, Blake Murphy, Julia Cruz. Do not miss this first Baseball Town of the year. It is going to be a gem. It's a comedy bar on Bloor, and I will put the link in the comments. All right, folks, we will see you Friday for the Friday show. Take care of yourselves. Go Jays, go.